Before I start off, I would like to call upon a very special person who has joined eBookery very recently and has been providing great deal of support with organizing all the shows every week. Revati Sharma,
Hi, good evening,
hello,
everyone.
good evening.
Hi.
How are you today?
Yeah, I'm so fine and so happy and
Revati has
thrilled.
prepared a
Yeah.
story for you, and she'll be presenting the story for you today.
Yes,
Over to you,
yes, yes.
Revati.
Thank you. Thank you for this wonderful introduction, first of all, and very warm welcome to one and all over here. And I'm so happy and thrilled to see you, everyone over here, seriously. And I'm so happy to say one of the story that really touched me. So the story is something like the elephant rope. Sometimes you may be heard of this story also. So the entire story was like this. A man was just walking through an elephant camp and he spotted that all these elephants weren't like kept in cages or held by the use of chains. Mostly you can see right, elephants are like wandering around this camp and all. So that man was really wondering why these elephants are simply standing over there and they are just simply wandering around. If they really wanted to escape these chains, they can really do that. But they are not doing it. But they are simply tied with a simple piece of rope. So, as this man gazed upon these elephants, he was completely confused as to why these elephants didn't use their strength to break the rope and escape the camp. So they would easily done that, but instead of that, they didn't do that at all. So he was completely curious, and he really wanted to know the answer. So he asked the trainer nearby why these elephants are just standing there and never try to escape. So the answer was like this from the trainer. This is the important part. When they were so young or very young and much smaller, they used the same rope to tie them up. And at that age, it's really enough for them to hold them. But as they grew up, they are like conditioned to believe that they can't break away. They believe that the rope still can hold them up and they never try to break free. So the only reason that the elephant weren't breaking free and escaping from the camp was that over the time they were like adopted the belief that it wasn't just possible. So the moral of the story, as I go into like this moral of the story, is like no matter how much the world tries to pull you down or hold you back, always continue to believe that what you really wanted to achieve in your life is possible. Really, never give up in your life. This is the one thing that really needed to be with you. All the potential you have to believe in yourself. So, this is what I really wanted to say. No matter how much the world tries to hold you back, always continue with the belief that what you want to achieve is always possible. Believing that you can become successful is the most important step in actually achieving it. With this moral, I'm just concluding this story and I'm passing over this to one and only person who is the backbone of eBookery, Mr. Anil Thomas. Passing over to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Revati. Revati is such an person supporting eBookery at all times, any time of the day. Thank you very much for your all support. A very good evening, friends, well-wishers, book lovers, speakers, and authors. Thanks for making this session possible. Winning without losing. Whether you are doctor, engineer, teacher, or entrepreneur, chances are you find it hard to switch off. We work on extended hours 24 by 7 at home and on the move. And I'm going through this now. And I don't know how many hours I work a day on a daily basis. I always feel I am doing a great job. It doesn't have to be this way. Martin B. and Jordan are here to show you how to build your business into something big, sustainable, and widely recognized, and still lead a happy whole and balanced life. Winning Without Losing, authored by Martin B. and Jordan M., is the answer. Our speaker one for today is Satish S. Satish is an educator, business consultant, NLP master practitioner, and effective communicator. I'm sure you will learn a lot about how to avoid time and energy wasters and build a new mindset that gives you optimism and enthusiasm needed to succeed. Help me, friends, in welcoming Satish S. Satish, sir, welcome on board of the book.
Thanks a lot, Anil. That's a wonderful. That's so nice. So I wish that everybody is now able to see my presentation.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. So this is me in simple. That's great. Um, Before just we enter into the core idea of this book particularly, I'd like to just tell you why I choose this book for sharing it. Most of the times what happens is we have this mindset like many people have this mindset like to achieve success in one of the friend, like if it is a professional friend or if it is a personal friends, they have to sacrifice the other point. So that is a normal mindset that people have already come into their nutshell. Like our Revati's story, they are tied up with that kind of a mindset and a belief structure. People live like that forever. It is not so. Really speaking, it is not so. We can redesign and redefine stuffs. And this one book was wonderfully designed based on all these facts and figures in place. I have to mention it like once again, winning without losing is a very simple time tested procedures that you can follow and find that you will not, you don't have to lose for winning. So this attracted me a lot, and there are proven 66 topics that have been handled by wonderfully six different major headers. So by handling a header, you now know that this is how all these complete procedures or the steps are going to will facilitate the user to come to a conclusion and to streamline his job in a better way. As a life coach, I train many people for their upliftment in business friends or in the personal friends too. And the fine part is always like mostly people lament a lot, and almost many laments are listed in this one book that many people, if you go through it, you will find, okay, I was here, and this is a very simple tool that I can immediately implement and change my life and take control of my life. And this is exactly what we do in the life coaching. So we enable people to achieve something in a better way. And as a matter of like-minded people, this Martin Jobert and Jordan's book was fascinatingly attracted me. And when when we were discussing with Anil mentioned, why not you just open up? And I said, give me just 3 to 4 hours time. I just wanted to only present this book. In the first place, I want to present this book, and that will really rock so many lives. It can touch so many lives, and that is the reason I choose this book. So, in this presentation, what I have done is I'm giving you the 6 major categories in place, so that one of the category is somewhere or the other, the every person would have already gone through. In each category, I've given the number of chapters that they have mentioned, along with the very important topics. Today, if we see that we have another speaker, Arul Dev, his company's name is also one of the topics in today's this particular talk. That was fascinating. I was really amazed when Anil forwarded me this particular small brochure where me and Arul's message was the next to next. I was very fascinating. Then I picked up something. Yes, that is there. His name of the company is already there in this. So I wanted to bring in that, include that particular chapter also. So I have to thank Anil for that. So let's move on, guys. So this is a book called Winning Without Losing. And you see, this book has been reviewed 4.5, 4.4 in Amazon, 3.9 in Goodreads. So this proves how worth and how comfortably people started applying its ideas. So it's very fantastically applicable because it's easy to use. It's something that we go through every other day. And this is basically the 66 strategies. There are 66 strategies here. So in other words, I can say that 66 proven techniques that you can immediately apply in day-to-day life. And Stephen Conway, the seven habits guy, who just mentioned is well, tremendous. Read it and be prepared for a better way of life. So this, I think, now conveyed the message of what is the height, and that is there in the opening book wrapper itself. Because one of the topics that these people wanted to work was already mentioned in that particular. We'll come on to that. So effective boosters. So sorry, efficiency boosters. 15 strategies to increase your efficiency potentially. This is one of the very important places where we want to increase our potential. And that is one of the reasons why we all have joined here right now. So in that, the first chapter itself is assemble your wheel. Wonderfully designed. The first chapter in the book is assemble your wheel, where he very clearly identifies that uh, a moving vehicle needs to have all the wheels in its place. Even any flat wheel, a flat tire will not take you anywhere. So he says that fix it in such a way that it will be comfortable for you to go ahead. And with that, he communicates a couple of messages like find a partner. So in a recent study also, it has been revealed that companies where there were a lot of partners, and especially the partnerships and the directors, when they are together, they will find the highest rate of successes there than an individual proceeding towards making a company. So this is a wonderful revelation where he narrates how and what kind of a companies, what are these things, structures, how they are going. And I have to tell you one more information that when you buy this book, I want you to read one chapter every day. There are 66 chapters. If you read one chapter every day, which will hardly take close to about 3 to 4 pages, will not take much of time, but it's a matter where you have to contemplate. It is not about just reading and just, it's not like they all are techniques. How this particular assemble the wheel itself have changed a small company into a huge company. Where he also refers our Narayana Murthy, Infosys Narayana Murthy, how the small change that they did and it got converted into a huge empire today. So we all know about this story. So how the small change, how the partnership deeds converted that into a huge success today. And then make a small test. This is one of the finest topic that I've just gone through. Here he says it very clearly about a McDonald's. So we all know about a McDonald's, right? So McDonald's made a small attempt, like they wanted to launch a particular brand of their burger with $300 million. So they invested 300 million to just establish throughout the world, and they launched a new product, and that got failed. That was a huge loss, isn't it? For anyone. For anyone, that's a huge loss. So they mentioned that very clearly. And from that point of time, they made it time testing each and every geographical. So slow and steadily divide your presentations and give it small tests and try it and then go ahead rather than jumping or plunging. I should mention it as a plunging. Instead of plunging, test it slow and steadily and then go ahead. And that has been very well formed and presented in a story format. When it comes to the next one, this is our Dev's, Arul Dev's, the next speaker. Arul Dev's name of the company is People First. So that is one of the reasons why I brought and insisted on this, bringing in this particular topic, where they very clearly say how important a putting a people in the first place rather than the technology or for any other matter. They bring in that cultural factor becomes the first thing. So the efficiency booster is first one. They talk about one of the 15 strategies they talk about is this: people put people in the first place. So there are various topics in this, and there are 15 major topics. So I've just selected few so that I can facilitate this given if I'm not wrong, my time was close to about 20 minutes. So I'm just focusing in such a way that I can run you through the entire episode of this book. So it will be
Oh,
very fascinating.
incredible.
So next, we go through the new way of doing old things. That's something which was wonderful because many people start thinking that we have to create new means we have to absolutely create something out of blue. Not necessarily. Even our Shiv Khera's book says people do things differently, right? Okay, so it is one of the very simple these things. Rather than doing different things, do things differently, and that will just define you in a better place. So here they very clearly says it, like one of this particular topic is focus on the widely important. And this is where these people, these were the guys when they were running a company, how they were assisted by Stephen Conway was teaching them about the importance of learning. Earlier these guys were actually using all the resources towards how to make money or how to run their company or how to work and how to do all they were having this minds only on based on these factors. But after attending a workshop, especially something like this where they were educated, when they were enlightened for a particular topic for 2 days in Stephen Conway's workshop, after that they happen to understand, no, streamline so many things so that you don't work hard and you will start working smart, because hard work is hardly working. Hard work is hardly working, and smart work is the key to success. Beware of the time and energy wastes. There are 14 chapters in this, and one of the topic is know when to pull the plug. So if we don't know whether this particular subject or this particular project is going to yield us some kind of a revenue or yes or no, without understanding about that, if we keep investing our hard time, money, hard working, whatever that resources, and what are we doing? We are not at all channelizing towards smartness. Am I right to say this? Okay, we are completely wasting our resources towards something which is not at all yielding us anything. So here they very clearly defines about when to unplug, know when to unplug. And then we come into this picture called know how to raise money. This is one of the very important topics where I want to read a particular quote in the book. Can I? So this is one. So I will read this particular quote from this particular book, and the page number is 149, where they very clearly mentions about various geographically people, how they think about money and how they work towards. I'll read this. 1 year investors wants to see aggressive growth plan the next year. It's a solid earning forecast. Some money men mostly focus on the T, others on the vision. European investors will consider opportunities for a long time. American makes quick decisions. And the Japanese wants to drink you under the table. So they very clearly bring out from the east, from I'm sorry, I would have to mention that like from the west to east, how investors are thinking pattern is, how they are working pattern is, how they are thinking about how to invest, and the raising of the money is involved. This is something like profound thinking. So I found very fascinating about this particular topic. And then don't let technology control you. According to this chapter, yes, I accept it, But in our today's condition, technology is what has bring the entire world in a one nutshell, that we all were together now. Right from the entire globe, we all were here together. That itself is one of the fantastic. Probably I will say it like this. So instead of getting too much holding on to it, we should know when to unplug, so that we know where we waste our energies and move productively. So then we have the when the road is rough, five empowering thoughts when time is tough, spot opportunities in danger. This is one where I wanted to refer about myself. Where in India they declared on 18th of March, they declared about the lockdown. I have launched another wonderful application platform for people to do meditation, because one of my expertise is various meditations that I teach. So what happened is what happened is I started creating a platform for them to meditate for a longer time, how they can meditate, how they can make use of these platforms, and if they can empower themselves in that first 21 days. And it worked out so fantastically. And that has really empowered so many, because I gave it a free of cost, like how this platform is considered. Look at that. Even now, this is this opportunity that Brain City has identified and given a wonderful platform for many speakers to imbibe themselves and bring in their qualities that we need to bring in. So that is the spotting opportunities in danger. People were worried on how to exhibit or how to showcase their problem, but we are actually now in a very comfortable way to present ourselves. And then we say that know that it is never too late. Start it now. So that is something which one of the very important factors that I would just suggest. It is never too late. We can just start at any time. And then balance by design, 10 ways to stop hoping for it and start planning for it. Build with a balance in mind, so that we don't waste our energies, like without planning anything. If you get if any work which is done without planning, I would call it as a matter of plunging without understanding the depth of that particular place, and that is too difficult and too dangerous too. If that depth is very small, or if that depth is too high, then both the way it will not take us to a safer zone. So that is what I wanted to mention there. And this is the new mindset, a love and insights of the better quality of life. Give back, get perspective, rethink, self-discipline. Self-discipline, yes, if you notice, if we are not self-disciplined at this point of time, even many people get their opportunities to go out, spend some time, but we are now self-disciplining ourselves to productively work. That is one of the key factors, and there were so many other key factors that they will have it here. And then 6 steps to take this week. Do the worst first. So Brain says eat that frog. So like that, here he says do the worst thing the first. So it is easy. Push for the purpose. So without a purpose, if you are working without a purpose, then that is like beating around the bush and not taking you anywhere. But when you know where and what, and whatever the efforts you have put in will definitely take you towards something for a better, and that is pushing yourself for purpose. And yes, guys, how Sanish, how's it, Sanish? Oh, okay. So I have some few things to suggest about this book. Is like there are 66 strategies which I mentioned. They can be easily applied our day-to-day life. That does not require any specific gadgets or stuffs like that. There's just thinking, changing the thinking pattern and moving towards the productiveness. And this book is widely available and widely been read also. So that's my presentation on this particular part. And can we take some questions on this, or can we call it a day?
we usually have a feedback session after your
Yes, yes.
presentation.
Great, 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 great. So after
Oh, okay. Thank you, Mr. Satish. That was a wonderful presentation of hacking your mind and life, basically. Hack your habits and your life. So I hope everyone has enjoyed the session. It was a very quick session and a very, productive as well, productive session as well. So who would want to go ahead first with their feedback on the book?
This is Linda Marie. I'll say something.
Yeah.
I took lots of notes. Very good. And I've already ordered it on Amazon. While you were talking, I just jumped over and ordered the book, and it'll be here on Monday. So thank you very much. I'm always looking for books
wish you all
to
the best.
help me in my busy work life and to be successful. And I think this is going to be extremely helpful to me. And I appreciate you and thank you for bringing it to me.
Thanks, Linda.
Thank you, Linda.
It's so nice, and I wish that you enjoy the book a lot.
I could say something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So I really like the part of where you said that we all had a purpose and the purpose of what the book is going to be on. I'm really keen on reading that part as well. So I think that, with major people like Stephen Covey speaking on it and writing a review, then definitely this book has some important value that would not only help us as an individual, but will also help our participants or our family members overcome any challenges or any kind of, say, obstacles that they might face along the path of their journey as their school careers or as their professional careers or whatever, that it would give us some insight of when we can advise them with scientific knowledge that has been put across in this book. So that's something nice.
I second that. I second that. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have a lot of newcomers today. Who would want to give a feedback about the book? I have one more minute and I can take a feedback now before we go into the next speaker. We'll surely have more feedbacks after the second speaker is done. How did you like the book, Revati? Yeah, go
Actually,
ahead.
I like the way so you present it, because the one thing which I really loved is like hard work is hardly working. That's true. That's actually true. Because and beware of smart work, as it is the key to success. Because nowadays we are just even in my studies also, what I'm doing is the same hard work. I'm always used to say like, yeah, I'm doing my hard work, but something like I'm not putting all my effort, right. So that's what actually happening. And how we study or how we learn to become a successful person, that's the pattern of studies must be different for everyone. And the pattern to become to become a successful person, definitely there should be a pattern in any field, like in not only in, yeah, even in life also we should have a certain pattern, and we should follow that pattern so that we become successful. This is what I really, it helped me, not in the mean of like not only in the case of MBA graduates or anything, but even in the case of life also, we can just simply share all this knowledge. So this is what it really helped me.
Yes. And thanks a lot, Revati, for bringing in that wonderful thought. I have written close to about 10 books and only on
Oh,
therapies, because my expertise works on a therapy. So I have been working from mind part to the extreme physical, these things. So I've been working on that area. And this particular book made me think that next book, when I pen, it should be an applicational knowledge where immediately people can put it. Okay.
yeah,
So
sure.
thanks for that. And that is one of the reasons when Anil asked me that this is the book that I wanted to present. Let me just make a couple of hours and find the book, and then I'll get back to you, because my, in our home we have close to about 700 plus books. When I saw Kamal here, and even if you see Arul here, the shelf itself is the racked with lots of books. Even look at Anil. Okay, so that's something which is fascinating to me. Okay, Kamal, if you see Kamal, I don't know if that is a shop, that is fine, but if that is your own collection, I envy you, man. Okay, I envy you. Okay, so I have close to about 700 800 books, and among that, my wife is an avid reader too, so she steals my book. Okay, so I just wanted to make sure that my book is kept in the place where I am. So I just took a couple of hours from Anil, and I just no, this is the only book I want to present. I don't want to talk about anything. I will talk remaining things later, but this one I want to bring it to the platform, and I have to thank Anil for that. With a very short notice, he organized all these things, and bringing it for even a 33 people here, that itself is a huge change, and that
And
can really impact a lot.
yes, sir. And one more thing which I really liked is this is the right time to start anything. Even if we are just doing,
Never, never late.
yeah, never too
That
late.
is one of
That's
the
it.
very important point in this.
This is the
Okay,
right time we can start anything because we are still living right now. And this is the right moment we can start anything that we really wanted to do. And the other one, which I really loved, is like the worst thing first. Put the worst thing first. This is always, we always look for the easy things to do first and let later on then we will just do, oh, it is very hard for me, I can't do this. This is the thing that we always used to think, okay, this is pattern always happens in our life. So if we are just expecting the worst, definitely the good things will happen to us. That's it.
in NLP, one of the very important book we refer is Eat That Frog.
Eat a frog.
How,
Yeah.
okay,
No.
how and what and how things are, how people react to it, what do they do. See, as a matter of, mostly I'm working on a lot of psychological part. I would even talk about it, but why I like is almost all the collection, all the touch is there
Yes.
in this
Yes.
particular book. Almost every small touch is there, so that when we are in a busy schedule, these 66 techniques, spending close to about 5 to 20 minutes for yourself, and I'm telling you guys, that's a huge investment that you have done for yourself.
Definitely it changes your life. That's true. All the important point
Kamal, I
here
envy
is
you, man. Okay, please tell me that it's not, you're not in a shop. Okay.
No, it's a virtual background.
Oh, you disappointed me.
It's a virtual background, but yeah, I love books. There's so many books here on my table right now, so I love to be around books. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the feedback, Revati, Kamal, and Mr. Satish. Without wasting more time, I would like to hand over to Anil Thomas again to introduce the second speaker of the day.
Thank you,
Over
Sanish.
to you.
Thank you, Sanish, sir. And now, how can I introduce such a powerful speaker? Uh, Arul Dev aspires to be a fire that lights the depths of human beings and collective organizations. He holds a MSLC, that is a Master Certified Leadership Coach certification from Coach for Life. He's a guest lecturer at IIT Madras for self-awareness and higher goals education courses since 2011. Uh, the book Into Great Depth of Your Being, that's a book that he has authored, can set an inward journey into your thought and emotional formation, patterns, motives, and habits. The author provides step-by-step guidance to the fine-tune, perfect, and balance each part of your being. By delving deeper, you are likely to taste the joy of discovery of your unique inner presence that influences the flow and fulfillment of various phases of life. Um, Dear Arul sir, welcome on to eBookery show. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anil. Thank you, Sanish. Thank you, everybody. I do know a couple of people here, from what I can see. Hi, and thanks, Satish, for bringing note to people first. So I like to go right into the book, and try and see the way I would like to do, if that's okay, in the 20 minutes that's there with me is. While I speak, I would like you to put your attention inwardly within yourself, because that's the whole book anyway, in one sense of it, into great depth of your being. Okay. So actually, the whole book came when I was doing this course with IIT Madras. I was very lucky that I got a call from this prof, and they were just launching the self-awareness course for 4.5 months, and they kind of roped me in. It was it is still because we still continue the course. It's an extraordinary experience of working with somebody, especially students, long term. Okay, so I have this. My method normally is not a PowerPoint. Like the 4.5 months close, the course material was just one page. It was just about 8 different parts of your inner being. That's the book all about. It's just about 8 different parts of your inner being. And I just put down the keywords. And for 4.5 months, we just explored experientially together. It was one of the high point of my lives, and we just looked at how do you become aware of your mind? How do you become aware of your emotion? So a very precise awareness into the different parts of our being, and to work directly on that was the whole intent of the course. And as the second and third course was rolling on, the prof said, Arul, you may need to write because people are asking, what's the course material? What's the reference material? And I wrote it in a very neutral way so that it could appeal to because we use the same book for executive coaching as well. So that was the intent of the book. And to fulfill that, as I shared, I would like you to just don't just hear me, pay attention to yourself, and let's see what unfolds. Okay. So the book is just about 8 different parts of the being. So the first is your body, the physical body. And it basically has 2 functions, or properties. So one is its capacity to be healthy or not. And then the basic functionality of the body is it forms habits. That's it. Okay. You have a habit that serves you, or a habit that does not serve you. I don't know if you have seen this movie of Charlie Chaplin called Modern Times. And there's a very interesting scene there where this guy is in the floor and all his job is, screwing that, he's just tightening the screws, again and again and again and again. And when the break time comes, his hand is still going like this. Okay. It's a very insightful video because basically all that we are doing in life gets stored inwardly and it gets on repeated. So the basic physical consciousness operates out of a pattern making, habitual habits making, and its fundamental functionality is repetition. Anything that you repeat forms itself into a habit. So that's the first part of being. So what we really do, so each part of being is a chapter. How do you become aware of your body? The whole thing is generally what happens to people is they are not precisely aware of the part of being, they think about it. Many people, when we talk about the body, they think about the body, but they are not aware of the body's signals, the body's workings, etc. So this really goes into the awareness at the body level and how do you shift, habits, patterns, etc. So that's the first part of being. So the second part of being is the senses, basically the senses, which is actually an extraordinary apparatus that we have within. It is with the senses that we are reaching out into the world. The senses connects us with the external environment. Okay. So the basic functionality of the senses is seeking pleasure and avoiding pain. Basic fundamental, and it is the world which is also the domain of joy, the domain of humor, the domain of lightheartedness. Like those of you who know A.R. Rahman, and there's a song that goes like Chinna Chinna Asai in Tamil, and it has its Hindi version. That's classically this domain, enjoying the small things of life, the pleasure and stuff like that. The happiness is the domain. But the senses is also the domain where in the younger generation today, especially, sixth, seventh standard up to college, is a domain which is going through extraordinary difficulty, basically from the domain of addictions and troubles and all that stuff. But senses itself has the delight of beauty. So the second exploration we make is into the senses. How do you keep it fresh? How do you keep it natural? The natural capacity of the senses is it's widened. So if you really study the addictions at a sensorial level, the senses gets hooked onto something. There is a certain numbness, the senses gets hooked onto something, and there is a mechanical repetition. That is a lower condition of the senses. The other ways, let's say you go to a mountain or you go into nature, you just soak yourself into the nature, slowly your senses will widen. It'll widen, it'll hear the sounds of the birds. You will actually feel an expansiveness of your being. There's a certain joy that will seep into you. So the natural or the wellness part of the senses is it's fresh, wide open, and it can actually connect to wideness and vastness. So to that nitty-gritty level, we go into the book and help people to work on it. So that's the second part of being. The third part of being is you can put your attention on your navel center. That's the center of the dynamic energy. Okay, and that'll give you an indication how much of force and how much of, obviously when I listen to you all carry a lot of this drive and force, the way you all talk, and what you want to accomplish, no matter what the difficulty is. Let's go forward. Let's have success. So there's a lot of dynamic energy that I've been observing, amongst you all. You really bring that together and support each other, to hold that, and that's basically the dynamic energy, the passion, the confidence, so it's like the senses works like this. It takes in something for the enjoyment, whereas the dynamic energy throws out one's force into the world for manifestation, for accomplishment, for success. Okay. It's also the energy which is basically an ingredient of leadership. Leadership is about accomplishing something. So in that sense of it, the dynamic force is something which is the third part of being. A very subtle insight there. You can study and explore it yourself. This works in a cyclical manner, just like breath. There's an in breath, there's a pause, there's a tiny pause at the end of in and out breath, and then there's an out breath. This keeps on going continuous. Same is true with dynamic energy. Those who want power, those who want force, those who want energy, you need to know how to learn to gain the confidence, gain the power, but you have to expend it. You have to spend it. You have to put it in the world. If you're not putting in the world, the dynamic energy does not grow. It kind of gets subdued, subdued, subdued. You become powerless. So the dynamic energy grows only by the cyclical repetition of inspiration, assimilation, and expression. Money is basically dynamic energy. The currency that you see outside behind that is dynamic energy. I can tell you it's my understanding. Okay, money gains power only when you spend it. If you earn money, money does not have power. You've just earned money. If you save it in your bank, or even if you put some investments and the money increases through stocks and all that stuff, it's still only increasing in value. It gains power only when you spend it. When you spend money rightly, it's a power. It's a tool of power to manifest something that you want. Be it a vision or be it something that is dear to you. So the cyclical flow of money, there are certain communities in India who have mastered this art of cyclical flow of money. So it is basically keeping the cycle moving is where money gains power. By stagnating anyone, you could have tons of money in your bank, you will have no power. You could earn tons of money, you will have no power. When you spend it right, and keep the cycle going, money becomes a very dynamic tool of manifestation. Okay, so that's the third one. Fourth is a beautiful part of being called emotion. It's the emotion connect, it's the emotional care. Now, somebody has a cold heart, somebody has a warm heart. All right. Now, in the beginning, when somebody has a warm heart, they get into troubles of emotional sensitivity. They take on the pain. Many people, especially when they are emotionally sensitive, they're so generous that they take on the sufferings of others into them also, which is the difficulty first of the emotional. But when you truly transform, when you respect oneself, self-care is as important as care for others. So the entire domain, so the domain of emotion is actually a connect emotionally with another person, with an animal, with the world, with nature, with a flower. You can emotionally connect to flowers and plants, for example, and they love it. Okay. Now that connection is an interchange of the emotional level, and there's a give and a take. But as we purify ourselves, we go closer and closer to what historically people talk about unconditional care. You go closer and closer to compassion. So these are the first four parts of beings. The next four, the next three is the mind. Okay. A mind is important. Sometimes when we go into inner work, people say, mind, but mind is extraordinarily important because it is the vehicle, with which we are doing a lot of organizing and manifestation. So there are three parts of the mind. One is the most popular part of the mind in the corporate world today: data, analytics. Data is the king. You want a decision, show me the data, get me the data, prove it to me, get me the best practices here and there, and I'm going to approve it to you. So data is basically the objective part of the mind. It's the mind that looks at details. It's the knowledge of the past. It codifies the knowledge, makes it simple enough for us to digest, use it in our real-time world. It's the mind of time. It's a mind which can measure time, which can measure things, make things objective. Is the first part of the mind, data mind. But however, it's the mind of the past. It only replicates the past. The second part of the mind is there are two terms that we call it. In the book, it's referred as idea force. It's an extraordinarily precious part of the mind of imagination, the mind of creativity. For many people, truly the creative mind doesn't operate in its domain. It operates out of, desires and, the emotions and all that stuff. So for example, it's a dark night, you're walking on the road, your leg hits something and you imagine a snake, So generally the imagination zone is filled with all kinds of untransformed stuff inside us. But truly when one enters the domain of imagination itself, is an idea force, which means the center becomes an idea, the center becomes a purpose, the center becomes a vision. And instead of only latching on to the past, you start exploring what are the new ways this idea can be manifested, what are the new ways this vision can be manifested, what are the new ways this purpose can be manifested. Is a true creative mind. Today, even in the corporate world, this mind is increasing. Design thinking definitely brings us this component. Data and insights have begun moving into the world of visual to represent the data, but image processing is picking up big time. Like data processing, image processing has emerged 5 years, 6 years back. It's slowly gaining ground, and slowly, because I've seen some banks also, where when I went for some of the client meets, I do a I run a couple of businesses. Okay, I have seen that they are already entering into the domain of visualization and imagination as a way to create the new. So it is definitely entering into the corporate world as well. So that's the second part of the mind, and the sixth part of the being. The seventh part of the mind is what we call the integrative mind, or put it very simply, it's the mind which can take a helicopter view. In corporate language, those of you who work with corporate, the term called big picture has become very popular. It's almost a fashionable term to use. Okay, I look at the big picture. So the moment you say the big picture, it's like, people do take, oh, this guy is onto something. But really to see the big picture, you have to take a helicopter view, or let's say, how do you find your life purpose? You need the capacity to take a helicopter view. Look at the multiple things that you like and look at what's the core essence of that's resonating to you. Detecting the core essence, detecting the core idea, detecting the core value, core purpose is a part of the mind which is called the integrative mind. Simply means it's a mind that can look at opposites and see the interconnecting threads on that. That mind can go into a meeting, 20 different people can say 20 different things. This mind can see the interconnection. That's the seventh part of the mind. The last is what we refer as a deeper self. It's basically the divinity within the individual. It's the inner guide. It's also the domain of intuition. We don't always have to think to find the solutions. If you learn to put your attention above your mind or above your head, slowly ideas trickle in, slowly intuition trickles in. So that's the deeper self. That's the eighth part of being. It's also another way it operates within is spontaneous resonance. The mind analyzes and finds out what to do. Okay, the integrative mind looks at the essence of multiple things. I'm sure some of you would be good on that. It was my guess when I was listening to you all. So the integrative mind can look at essences and then it will know which direction to go. But the deeper self goes beyond all that. Without anything, by just coming in contact with something, it knows the nature of something. To put it very simply, it has been there in our tradition. So for example, the core Ayurveda guys, how do they know that this particular leaf cures something? They did not have the apparatus for testing. They used to sit in front of a leaf or a plant for hours or days, and suddenly they will know the quality inside. Then they go and check it out by giving it to somebody. That is called knowledge by identification. You connect with something and then you know it. The same you could do it for a book, that same you could do for another person, the same you could do for anything. It's like an intuitive knowing, and that's the eighth part of being called the deeper self. So the entire book is like this. So first is an introduction. The whole thing about the introduction so I'll give you an example. Once I was coaching for an organization where you have a lot of PhDs. So one of the guys was having a difficulty with the boss. So I was doing a one-to-one with him. So half an hour the conversation went. So I asked him, it was going nowhere. So I asked him, look, tell me what's happening in your body. He ignored my question. Okay. So we spoke for another 5 minutes. I said, like, hold on. You have your difficulty with your boss. Tell me what is going on within you right now. What are the emotions you're having? What's going on in your body? He ignored. Third time I'm asking the question, I'm not joking. The guy started looking at his body up and down. So because there's so much on the mind, he was not aware, So the whole book makes an attempt whether we can distinctly become aware of the body, of the senses, of the dynamic energy, the navel center, of the emotion, the three parts of the mind, and connect with our deeper self. And it also gives a lot of very simple techniques, methods that you can do with eyes open during the day with your activities or otherwise, how to tune and transform each part of the being. So, yeah, I think I've taken about 17 minutes or so, and this is the summary of the book. I'm happy to share more if you have a question or something.
Wonderful, Mr. Arun. That was a lot of information in 20 minutes, 17 minutes to be precise. I'm sure there will be a lot of feedbacks and questions we'll receive on this book. So, who wants to
Can
go
I,
first?
can I ask?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, Mr. Somerset, please.
Arul,
Hi.
after our discussion along with your father,
Yes,
I know
I.
you have you have already taken everything from Shruti and Smriti, and you have reached a different level altogether. And from your mind and from the heart, it flows. And 8 is a divine number again. They say, especially book writing. I was surprised to see that you are also restricted to the 8.
Yeah.
And you are just touched, just like the chakra meditation from Muladhara to Shirshasana. You are completely from body to
Yeah.
every aspects, and finally linked to Ayurveda and how the Ayurveda pundits and all other things is to hours to they live in the medicinal garden. What
Yes.
do you call it? Medicinal garden.
Yeah.
Even Kottakkal P.S. Warrior was there.
Yeah.
And incidentally, P.S. Warrior's first Ayurveda student was my father. So
Oh,
I
okay.
got, so I got some connection. And we have more. I was telling Anil, Arul Dev is coming. Definitely, I'm there. I've even circulated to many people also. I think
Thank
some
you so
people come.
much. Thank you so
This
much.
is very good, Arul, the way you put it, kind of thing. Anyway, that your dad's book, I have not purchased this. Anyway, I'll take it.
Thank you.
But
Yeah.
uh, when you are teaching or when you are also giving these doses in corporate, will they take it in a nowadays? Many spiritual inspiration sessions, gurus and guru kind of corporate guys, or many are there. Will they find it is all a little bit from Maya, and also they give something like that, or these are all only for meditation? This is not practical. It's not very business like, or is it really work? So how do you bring the transformation, bring the
Yeah.
change,
Yeah.
and how do you believe? How do people get into this? This is so good when you are there. They listen, they close the eyes, and they do. But how do you ensure that this is sustained? And this is a very energy theme, whatever
Yeah. Yeah.
law of attraction and power vibration
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
Definitely it work actually
I,
when you talk
I
about
think, yeah. So I think personally, this kind of work is in demand, provided I have understood two things. I keep it very universal. Now, even if you look at in my presentation, I've kept it extremely universal. You can apply
anybody.
it, anybody can apply it. So I keep the same, even in the book, I've used the same language. Though you're right, it will correspond to the chakras and other things. I've kept it extraordinarily neutral. The second thing, which is very important when we do this work on the corporate, is I take two things. So this is what we refer as the parts of being, and then they have the competencies. For example, the leadership competencies or work competencies. These two have to match together. So whatever work I'm doing, like, I will do whatever they have, their own map of competencies, and then I'll show them the link to this and how development of this will give a sustainable development. So I always do that. Okay. So giving that link of the part of being, keeping it very universal and connecting it to the competencies is a deadly combination. Actually, to be very honest with you, the demand for this is increasing right now. When
Yeah,
I began this about 12 years back, not so much, but right now it is increasing quite a bit.
it is increasing. Even I have done this part a little bit. Many you have seen, many HR professionals when they join or change a company, first they do an employee satisfaction or happiness survey, and then they say so many things are not okay, which mean organization is running for 50 years, 60 years, and all of that things are not okay. So they don't actually synergize it. What you are doing is you're saying whatever good things you are having in the leadership and all, that is there perfect. But what is to be linked, if you
Correct.
link this one, the dynamism works kind of thing. It's a very propelling thing, very good proportion. Let
Thank you.
others speak. Thank you very much for coming over here. I think I have told Anil. I think through Brain City we will have some relationship and long association. So I hope.
Happy to contribute. Thank you so much.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. It is always a pleasure to hear you. Yeah, Smita, please.
Okay. Yes. I really like listening to your entire talk. It also showed some parts of law of attraction, if I'm not mistaken.
Everything is attracting. See, each part of
Yes.
being is attracting. You see, when we go really deeper, each person's senses is influencing the other person's senses. Each person's emotion is you have no idea how much of these things are influencing. So every part of being has an interfacing that's going on between us, but we're generally not aware.
Okay. And that was interesting because I've always heard about how you connect the karmas, but I've never put across
Yeah.
it in myself in the same way that you have explained it. So it's really nice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Yeah.
Sanish,
Right.
let's take a few more people because we have time enough. So maybe we'll
Yeah,
take maybe.
yes, who would want to go next? I can see a lot of people. Giri, sir, I've just sent you a prompt.
Thank you, Sanish. Actually, I have lately joined, but the 60 strategies first speaker is very awesome, and I was enjoying for each and everything. Without strategy, there is nothing in this world. So the new technology with the strategy, each and every people now commonly they are everyone speaking about strategy. What is the strategy? Strategy like that. Yes, yes, very nicely connecting with the Infosys Narayan Mudhar. When I was working in my MNC company, at the time I was reading that entrepreneur Infosys Narayan Mudhar book biography. That only made me to come into the business. So I know the discipline what he has had and Pune how they started in the small room with some two other families even to be in one family in the house is not able to run, but at least two, three families they are staying together, and he went cycle by bicycle to give some quotation like that. So some of the things very inspired. I am very much inspired about Infosys Narayan Murthy. And today Satish are speaking about so many strategy like that. I very much enjoyed. Thank you, Sadiq sir. When coming to Arul sir, what that madam also told about the law of attraction and now the mind-body connection, the mind-body transformation, like that he is connecting very well. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you, Sanish.
Thank you, Mr. Giri. Who else would want to give a review about both the books? I can see a lot of new faces. I can see
Yeah, I
Mr.
would like
Vinu
to.
here.
Satish here. I would
Yeah.
like to. Arul, I have just gone through the book long back, and there is a wonderful application. And yes, one thing fascinated me about that book was the neutral language. Many people they get carried away with how they are learned it, so they don't know how to. They just take forward in such a way that the neutral language, carrying it in the neutral way. This is not something only belongs to the Indians. Okay, so that has to go beyond that. That can be only be taken by the language, and I really appreciate you for that. And that a small application like the tarot cards was fantastic tool that we use in our classes. So thanks for that too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have 24 people here, and I can see Badru, Major Narayanan. I
Of
can see
course,
Major Narayanan.
you're always invited.
I've sent you a prompt, Major Narayanan, if you can unmute yourself. It seems he's not available today. Very
Was
strange.
he was there for some time.
Yeah.
Dr. Winston, Anjali, I can see many people. Maybe you can call on you.
Shweta Gupta,
Yes,
Shamla,
yes, yes.
Mr. Ragid is also there. Mr.
Ragit
Ragid.
is also there.
Hi, you are looking for me? Finish.
Yes. Yes, Ragid.
Yeah. Tell me, Sanish.
Yeah. Review of both the books. Would like to take a feedback from you. Hello, Ragid.
Sanish, I didn't hear you properly. Can you repeat that?
We are wondering if you could give a feedback on both the books.
Wow, that's amazing. Was a different pace, moreover a business centric. Second book of is on spiritual way. It was more connected to, so when the speaker was telling to reconnect with ourselves, I was actually, whenever he's saying, I would actually try to connect myself to that, to my soul, my sensories, everything I do. It's like a real time experience. I really appreciate both speakers' efforts to putting this point over here. I am so happy because especially when the second speaker talk about the chinna chinna ase. So actually I was actually think about that one sometime back when we it's reconnect to the soul. The first one mantra was awesome. It was fast and set. I have to agree to disagree on certain points, but in my perspective, that or the speaker perspective always accepted. The both side was amazing.
Thank you, Rajat.
Thank you, Ragid. Yeah, I can see very less activity in the group today. I don't know who, everyone is muted and nobody wants to speak up.
I think after the
Yeah.
Pongal,
How did yeah? How did you find the review, Revati, the second book?
Actually, it was amazing. I was just going through all this Nadi yoga and all. So yeah, actually, one of the that each and every sense in our body has its own particular, like, its own importance. Actually, sir explained so much, like, very precisely, but it's very powerful. I should say that. Thank you, sir. Really, I really wanted to read that book for further information. I will be reading it soon
Thank you so
because
much.
I really love that.
Just
Because
one
I was just
detail is,
searching for some answers.
just one
Yeah,
detail. You don't have to read the book in order. You can pick anywhere, and it'll
yeah,
hold
true.
good. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Revati. Now, before we move on to closing the session, I would like to take the
can I
feedback
add?
of yeah,
Sanish, can I add something?
yeah, please, please.
In fact, I missed out on talking about Satish. So I was thinking, I was responding to Arul when you were speaking. So Satish, I don't think it is. I cannot do leave without having. See, this is amazing. 66 strategies. You are able to compress it. And also the beauty is that there are books on almost everything, whatever he has frozen and presented. Everything like eat that frog or anything. You look at it, the small way he has brought it. Everything. Take action, then do the verse first, push for purpose, spot opportunity in danger. Everything is a known thing, and there are books, and he has comprised everything and put in a right perspective with the world organizational context, and it will be very useful like that. And getting back to Aruldev, one more thing I wanted to add when Revati was talking only, within from the mind extempore. That's why the man is doing this for last 10, 12 years, the way he can sequentially come in. And he brings in small things like in a body means is basically habits become pattern. Then how you link it with the children case he told, from the 6th standard to 11th standard. Some of the schools, drug addictions and those things are 60, 65% today. And when our childhood and all, maybe around 2% or 3. Now it's a major situation. So we have to really get into that. So it's getting to the same way we talk about the gentleman talked about chinna asay. Automatically it goes simple desires kind of thing. So the way it connects with people, and the way he was conducting the program also, not from a textbook to that, but what was going on through the program and all from the interaction. So that's the essence of kind. So it's highly recommended, I think, for all of us, especially 5am Club people, to read these books. And thanks for Arul and Satish for making this evening very productive, result oriented. We really appreciate your effort, and we like to see you again.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
That means a lot. That means a lot. I have just missed out thanking Mr. Giri, who was mentioning about Narayana Murthy and how they ventured out. That is a very touching part, really speaking. But reading only about that particular information, well, for many people, we not find the applicational part. In this particular book, it was application oriented. That's why I just wanted to bring in the important factors immediately.
Yeah,
So thanks a lot. Thank you, Anil, for bringing in a wonderful platform for us, and it means a lot. Thank you.
Thank you, Sadish sir. Thank you, Arul sir. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah, before we move into the closing of the session, I would like to take feedbacks from both the reviewers. How did you find the session, and how did you find each other's book?
Can I?
Arul,
Arul,
yeah.
can I?
Yeah. Yes,
Arul?
I think go ahead.
Yeah. Really speaking, I love to be with like-minded people. That's one of the reasons that without a second thought, I wanted to bring in. So that's something wonderful that we have created. So I have to really appreciate you, Brain City, for that wonderful platform. And second thing, bringing in resource people so that their resources are also platformed and cater to the end users, because we don't know where to find what kind of a personality, what kind of expertise are available in the open market. Now it has been categorized, and we also see people how they give it and how they present it, and that enables one another before entering into or venturing into, like I mentioned, plunging into okay, the workshop. They actually have an outline of how the presentation, how the person is handling the subject. So that's a wonderful way. I really appreciate the entire Brain City team. And here, as of in this particular platform, Anil is my buddy here. So I just wanted to thank him from my bottom of the heart. And yes, Anish, you have taken wonderful these things. In Arul Dev's subject, wonderfully designed application neutralized. And that means a lot. Okay, so that's something which I liked. Close to about 2 years back, where in an hypnotic circle, I happened to pick up his book, and that was, in fact, really speaking, that day he presented and he left. After that day I was presenting my mudras on that day, and it accidentally now also he we both were presenting here. So that's so wonderful, these things. So I really appreciate the law of attraction works with like-minded people bringing in together at the same point. I really appreciate that. Thanks a lot, Sanish and Anil and the entire Brain City team for enabling this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Sanish, just a minute before going to Arul, sir. Reem is a well-wisher for Brain City and Bookery. Can you just please call Reem as well before we go to Arul?
Yes. Yes. Reem ma'am is already
Left.
She left.
She can speak. Yes.
Okay.
She's there, I think.
Yeah, she's
Yeah,
there.
she's there. Yeah, she's there.
I
But
saw.
audio is missing. I don't know whether she has a problem with the audio.
I saw her there. That's why I wrote to you.
Yeah. Audio is missing from the.
Oh, okay.
So there's a problem with the audio. Okay, Sanish.
Okay. So let's go with Mr. Arul.
Yeah, okay. So I want to thank for this opportunity, and I want to share two things that I noticed. One is the energy of this group is obviously quite, bubbly, living and energizing, motivating. I've seen that in a couple of groups, and I see that again here, very fresh and, pulling each other in and ensuring that we're all in. The second thing, what I see as a deeper purpose of what could happen through this is what people refer as bite-sized learning. Even with those 20 minutes, you just pick one thing up and it kind of, you go and apply it. the whole time is worth it. So enabling that bite-sized learning is, I think this idea and this forum is phenomenal and is really good. So thank you so much. And thank you for
what is the word? By side or by?
Bite-sized learning.
Bite-sized learning.
Bite-sized learning.
Small chunks of learning.
Bite.
Yeah.
Oh, bite sides.
Bite.
And you gave one very kutty, small definition for leadership. What is that, Arun? On your talk? Something, something I just missed out on. Leadership.
Today or other day? Which one you're referring today?
Today.
Oh, okay. Today is basically two things. From what I've understood about leadership, you need a lot of force and the power, the dynamic energy. You need a lot of that to manifest, and you need the clarity of vision. These are the two things that is necessary for a leader.
Okay.
Thank you very much for everything. I'd have to take your leave. I have some extra pending work. So thank you all for being here. And I really enjoyed listening to the book reviews. I look forward to learning more.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anil, and thank you, Sanish, for being great hosts and bringing such wonderful reviews on this platform.
Thank you. And we had amazing 2 books today, and each of them complemented each other very well. And one was more about how your habits, how your daily goals, and how your life can be managed, and the other was about how all of this can come into picture and how mind plays an important role in managing all this stuff. So it was an amazing review, and you can find all our reviews on YouTube. So we have a reference over there as well. So thank you very much. Thank you for joining us every week. We have a lot of people who joins us every week regularly, and I hope all of you who have come today would, you know, pass on this message to more of your friends and family so that more can benefit out of this. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye. Take care. Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Hello.